Hello guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about tying knots and the importance of tying knots and keeping on top of them as well. So stick around, we'll have a chat. Hey guys, so look, if you're new to the channel, I'll just give you a little brief history of myself. So I'm 16 years, coming up to 16 years in the business. I've done a mixture of private and utility work. So utility work is around power lines. So yeah, I was thinking the other day, I was sitting there thinking about all these new guys coming in and how they do their training and stuff like that. Now, obviously, I don't go on training courses for climbing anymore. You do it once and you're kind of classed as qualified, which is quite crazy. But back when I started, pretty much everything was tying knots for your lifeline, for your lanyard, for whatever it was. Now, there is so many new mechanical devices and splice dies. You know, it's pretty much, when you buy a rope nowadays, everyone goes for the splice die because it's simple, it's easy. And yeah, that's great, that's technology and that's fantastic. But what I was thinking was, that's fine for the guys like me or guys watching now that are very experienced, have tied knots all their life. When these new things come in, most of the knots you need to know are stuck in your head because you've done them for so many years. But a lot of guys coming in, you know, recently, I think they tend to go straight away, buy a splice die rope, mechanical zigzag or whatever mechanical device you're using, and you don't have to tie knots. So I was thinking, Jesus, what happens? Now it's a very rare occurrence, but if there was something to go wrong with your mechanical device or your splice die was damaged and you noticed it, do these guys have the knowledge in their head while they're up the tree to tie a simple knot like a bowline? So I'm going to tie it here while you're here because I can, you know, tie it very quickly. Probably not as quick as some people out there, but there's my bowline, and then obviously just an overhand knot for a stopper. There's my bowline. I can do it in seconds. It's stuck in my head. Now I use splice dies, I use mechanical devices, but these knots I know, I probably will never forget them. So I was wondering, do you guys that are new in the last year, 2 years, if you've gone and bought a spliced eye rope, a zigzag, whatever it may be, do you know your knots well enough that in a time in a tree of an emergency, if you notice your zigzag's cracked or your spliced eye is damaged, can you quickly tie that knot? Because that's super important. If you're up there and you're trying to get down and you're guessing, this is where accidents are going to happen. So I know it's a simple thing within the industry, and people might see, you know, experienced people might look at this video and say, what the hell, you know, it's simple. It's simple to us, the people that have been doing it for years. And you can't give out to a lad that is using the splice die for the last 2 years of his career, his first 2 years of his career, and doesn't have the need to tie the knot. And knowing how to tie a Prusik, just a simple little bit of cord like this, knowing how to tie that and having one of them on your harness somewhere, and knowing how to tie a bowline could get you out of a sticky situation. Now also you've got the 3-in-1 system with just your rope itself. This is more simple. This is definitely more simple. A Prusik and knowing how to tie a bowline will get you out of trouble, and they're simple. The two knots are simple. So I think it's really important, guys, if you're new, get tying your knots, especially the ones that are going to save you in the event of an accident or damage to a piece of equipment. You need to know that knot. You have to know it, because if you don't, you're then guessing, and accidents can happen from guessing. My boss, my very first boss, we were on a job, we finished the job early, we had nothing to do. He had me tying the bowline behind my back. Now, you might think, oh, what a lunatic. And I was like, why are you asking me to tie it behind my back? Now, his reasons were different. And back then, splice dies and mechanical devices weren't as big. So he said, if you're up in a tree and it's completely covered in ivy, you know, ivy that's coming out from the stem about 1.5 foot, he said, sometimes it's going to be hard for you to see your hands, you might not be able to move back enough, whatever. So he said, you need to be able to tie that knot just by the feel. So I challenge you guys, actually, if you do know how to do your bowline, try and tie it behind your hand. It's something I can do myself just by the feel of the rope. I can feel the loop, I can feel where it's going, and I can do it that way. And it's not me being Billy Big Balls. I did it for years, repeating the same thing for years. It's stuck in my head. It's like walking down the street. You know how to walk, you don't even have to think about it. So guys, I think it's really important, learn your knots, because it's at some point in your career you might be stuck in a tree and you're like, fuck, why don't I know this knot? So guys, learn the bowline. It's super important. I know splice dies are handy, I know mechanical devices are handy, but learn your knots and stay safe.